Just a quick one before we dive in. I've just opened up 2 brand new ways to work with me. If you're an established beauty professional who's ready to increase your revenue, either in your clinic or by moving into the online mentoring and educational space, you can join me for a 2-month container where we build and validate your first online offer or your next big move. Or if you're ready to go all in, there is a 7-month private mentorship where we build, launch and scale your new revenue stream together. If you're not sure which one's right for you, I'm offering a handful of free business clarity calls, quick and powerful to map out your fastest path and to see which container fits best. Just DM me the word revenue on Instagram or check the link in the show notes and email me. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode. I'm really excited for you to listen today. This episode I was joined by the gorgeous Rebecca from Sugar Branded. She answers all of my questions in so much detail. She was so generous in sharing all of her insights with me about how you can actually grow your beauty businesses using branding and how it will help you stand out and all the rest of it. So I really hope you enjoy this. I really appreciated her time and it was such a good chat. I could have talked to her for ages and ages. We also did some bonus questions in the Beauty Build Facebook group. So if you're not in there already, get yourself into the private community on Facebook so that you can benefit from hearing a lot more in-depth answers to those 2 bonus questions as well. Don't forget, if you do enjoy listening to today's episode, please take a screenshot and pop it on your stories and tag me at Zara King and also tag Rebecca at Sugar Branded. We would love to hear your thoughts and I really hope that you enjoy this episode. So, Rebecca, can you share with us who you are, where you're from and what it is that you do, please?
Sure, yeah. So thank you for having me. My name's Rebecca. I am a brand strategist and graphic designer. I have my own branding studio called Sugar Branded. We specialize in helping mainly beauty business owners, but generally female-centric brands. So I do have some home fragrance clients, some wellness retreat clients, and like a few other random businesses here and there. But mainly I specialize in the beauty industry. We do branding and design, so that's everything from the brand identity, like logo design and colors and things like that, and everything that people are more familiar with. But we also look at customer experience design as well. So we create really bespoke gift vouchers, flyers, price lists, and also help our clients create a whole strategy if they're launching a new salon or a new premises. We also do products as well. So that's something we help our clients with. I have had my business for 6 years now, which has gone super, super quick. And during that time, I've also had 2 babies. So I've got 2 boys. One is 5, he's about to be 6, and the other one is 2.5. So definitely so busy. And sometimes it's funny to actually look back and realize that I've never actually, while my business has been grown so quickly and we've usually always been fully booked, I've never actually had a time where I've been working full time on the business because I've always had 2 small babies or been on maternity leave, which I think is, a lot of my clients are mums as well. But I think it's sort of unusual to have launched a whole business and had it for so long. And it's always been sort of secondary to being a mum and all the other crazy life experiences that brings with it. So yeah, that's like an introduction to me.
Amazing. I can't believe you've done it all alongside having such young ones, you know, although I have been in that boat as well.
You've been the same.
Yeah, we're exactly the same. I know exactly how it feels. What I wanted to ask you was how you came about helping beauty professionals mostly, you know?
Yeah, so it's funny actually, just a random story and a random journey. So I guess, where would I start? So I went to uni to study business management. And at that time, my dream job would have been to work in the marketing or branding department for a big brand like Estee Lauder, or L'Oreal. That was my dream job at the time. But back then, so I'm 30, so it's not like I'm old, but I feel like things have changed so much in terms of careers and business and education. So back then it was sort of like the norm to go to uni and then you'd get a job, hopefully like in one of these big companies and work your way up. It wasn't ever really like entrepreneurship wasn't such a big thing. So I went to uni, I didn't manage to get a placement in one of the brands that I wanted to get a placement in. So I kind of like just left that idea. And then I went into employer branding, and marketing, like within recruitment. So we were helping brands like Jaguar Land Rover and Virgin Media create recruitment campaigns that are branded to them, to attract the right clientele. So I was doing that in my 9 to 5, and then kind of felt like it wasn't really for me. But I've always, in terms of like working for somebody else, I just kind of felt like this isn't for me. So I've always, alongside that, had other businesses and other things going on. So I was doing some promo work for Grazia and like fashion magazines and things like that. And I also had my own hair product line too. And I was also modeling. So I was doing all of these things. Can you tell I'm
Wow.
not somebody that can just like sit still and just
You're the
chill?
same as me. I can't just
I
do
think it's
one
an
thing.
entrepreneurship thing.
Yeah.
And then throw kids into the mix, like that's a really different level. But anyway, so when I was like obviously doing the modeling and then had my hair care line, I was around loads of beauty professionals, so makeup artists, hairstylists, and photographers as well, but loads of creatives, and especially in the beauty industry. And I was so inspired by the passion they had for their work. And I just loved the lifestyle of like they would find their own jobs and then they get to do different things all the time. I loved that. So, and I wanted a bit of that, but I knew that going into actual beauty services wasn't something that I wanted to do. So that always kind of sparked something inside. I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to be part of this industry, but I just wasn't sure how I was going to fit in. Especially because I did business, I didn't do branding or design. So anyway, so I started my branding agency, Sugar Branded, at the time. And I wasn't a beauty industry specialist at that time, but my aesthetic and my design style sort of attracted that industry to me. So at the time, there weren't a lot of other designers that had my design style. It was a lot of sort of middle-aged men that had like, I don't know, like you can just imagine the typical type of design that they had. It wasn't really aligning with like the beauty industry, but because I had that design style, loads of beauty industry specialists and beauty industry self-employed and brands were coming to me to help them with their branding. And I think the beauty industry is such a small world. I don't know if you feel the same, but everyone is so interconnected. And like, and also I think as women as well, we tend to, if we see something nice that we like, that we're excited about, we will tell people about it. And I think that's sort of what happened. So really, I sort of fell into the industry really, but I love like being here. Like, I just love that the beauty industry provides so much opportunity for women and for mums to create flexible working and to support each other. And I just love it. So that's kind of how I ended up here.
Yeah. Wow. I would say it's a big industry. I would say that the industry is quite broad and quite large, and you're in a great pool of like opportunity. But what I would say as well is you're so right, aren't you? When it comes to like your vibe has just attracted the tribe, as cliche as it all sounds. But yeah, it's nice that you've had that kind of people telling people as well, because I think in this industry, it used to be super catty and really.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, in my experience anyway. And then as I've grown through the industry over the last 12 years, it's kind of like now social media's brought people together more, and people are supporting each other more. And it's just really, it's like a really nice place to be. When it comes to your actual branding work, I love branding. I love design. If I could just design things all day, and I'm a bit like you, and I went to uni, well, when I studied my foundation in art and design, I was just like, I just want to work for a big company and do all the billboards and the brand and like all the marketing and everything
That
and
was
the
the
design.
dream.
Yeah. So when it comes to branding and it comes to kind of like a brand that does sell, what are your top tips for beauty pros at the moment to having that, you know?
Yeah, so I would say if I were to pick 3 things that as a self-employed beauty pro that you could focus on, it would be making sure that you understand your unique selling point in what you offer and your target audience. So rather than kind of putting all of your focus on how you're showing up visually, it's really important first to understand the strategy behind it so that you can make the right visual decisions. So I think when people first start out, they kind of don't understand the idea of having a unique selling point and having a specific niche or target audience, because you're just learning the craft and learning the skill at first. And it all just seems sort of like homogenous, like, oh, I'm a nail tech, so I do nails, I do hair, and that's kind of what it is. But every single person has something unique that they bring to the table. So whether, and this sometimes comes with time as well. So whether that's you have a specific, like I work with a lot of clients that specialize in blonde coloring, or I have manicurists that do just more like natural nails and don't do acrylics or nail art and things like that. So it's really important to understand what you bring to the table. Like, is your environment calming, or are you more of an exciting, like, hype girl? Like, what is it about you that people are going to choose you over someone else? And that's what you're going to base your branding decisions on. So the first thing is to get familiar with the idea of having a unique selling point and a target audience, and understanding what they want to see from you and what you can offer.
Mm.
And then the second thing would be to be consistent. So whether you are getting your brand professionally designed or whether you're DIYing it, the least you can do is be consistent with whatever you do design. So if you have specific colors, make sure they're throughout your social media feed. If you have business cards, make sure it applies to your business cards, to your website. If you can amend your booking platform to reflect your brand too, make sure that it's all consistent, because consistency builds trust and familiarity so that people will remember you and associate certain things with you. And research has shown that when customers trust you more, they're willing to pay more for your service. So I always talk about using branding to be able to charge more for what you do. And it's all about building that trust and establishing yourself as the only option for your clients. The other thing I would say is make sure that you're being, it kind of, I guess, ties into the other two, but make sure you're being strategic. So I have a lot of clients who come to me maybe at first, they've just started out in the industry, and they say, for example, I love butterflies, so I want to have a butterfly in my logo, I want butterflies in my branding, or my favorite color is yellow, so I'm gonna, I want yellow branding. And like, that's okay, but you need to make sure you have a strategy behind the visual decisions that you're making, and that should tie back to your target audience, what they want to see, and your unique selling point. So like I said, if you're an energetic person that like likes to hype up their clients and is like fun and chatty and bubbly, then it'd be really nice to see that reflected in your branding. So maybe you might use brighter colors or some fun patterns so that everything aligns and is consistent, and you have that strategy behind your decisions. So it's funny, my top 3 tips aren't probably things that people would expect, because it's not sort of like I'm saying make sure you have a minimal logo, make sure you're using neutral colors. Like, it actually doesn't even come from the specific visual elements. It's more about making sure that you have a strategic system that you use consistently, and it should make your life easier as well as a business owner once you have that.
I'm so glad that I'm on the same page with you there when it comes to the message. I call it like the message is more important than the visual. Not more important really, but I feel like the message has to come through the visual. And but I wanted to just ask you that because everybody listening is going to want to know. They're going to want like the top tips. Everyone wants to take these nuggets from these episodes, so they're going to be like, right, what can I put in place? So thank you so much. On the flip side of that type of thing, what are the common misconceptions that you see happening around branding? You've probably touched on some already, and how do they kind of make you feel?
So I guess one of the things that I would say is that I feel like a common misconception is that your brand has to be on trend. But trends come and go, and the most important thing about your brand is that it's consistent over time. So you're not just consistent in the way you're showing up in different places, but it's also consistent over time. So you can again build that familiarity and that trust. And if you're purely following trends, your brand is going to be changing like every 6 months to a year, which is not what you want. So your brand doesn't need to be the trendiest like thing in order to attract clients and be successful. It needs to have a strong strategy that you can carry through and build equity in over time. And I guess something else is that branding is just visual. That's a massive misconception as well. So your branding isn't just your logo and the colors and how it looks. It's strategic, and it can be experiential too. So branding includes the way that you speak, the way, how your captions are written, what sort of language do you use, what experience are you giving to your clients when they come, what can they smell, what can they see, and what can they hear. If you're printing business cards, for example, what sort of paper are they being printed on, what sort of print finishes do you have, all of these things, or like where are you marketing, for example. So you don't want to, okay, so say for example, if you are a nail technician that uses I don't know, certified organic products and like hand creams and things like that, you don't probably want to be then pairing with an influencer that doesn't share the same values as you. Your marketing strategy needs to align with your brand too. So yeah, I think that's the common misconception, is that branding is just visual when it's actually strategic as well.
I think it's super important as well. Everything has to reflect, doesn't it? Like what you
Yeah.
stand for, I always say.
Mhm.
I love
Mhm.
that. And what makes me laugh is, and you've touched on it, is the fact that you said you'd be changing your branding every 6 months. I'm
Yeah.
so guilty of just change. I mean, I've put my hands up and haven't had my branding done professionally. I may speak to
Yeah.
you after this episode.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because I'm a visual person and I
Mhm.
love design, and I want to change things up.
Yeah, and you want like you see like the next shiny thing and you're like, oh yeah.
I'm like, right, I've got my base thing down, but I do change a hell of a lot all the time. And
Mhm.
the thing is, I think, let me know if you agree,
Mhm.
that people like me, maybe, because we enjoy it so much, we
Yeah.
busy ourselves with it and we call it work.
Mm.
And we're like, we're working, we're busy, we've got this to do.
Yeah,
But
that is so true.
actually,
Yeah.
is that our job? My job is to coach people and to sell my
Yeah.
services.
Yeah.
And maybe a nail tech or an esthetician's job is to sell their services and to treat
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Busy ourselves with this branding. Do you find that?
Yeah, 100%. And it's so normal to be doing that. And I think especially in the beauty industry where a lot of us are creative at heart and we love to express ourselves through like creative things and the way that we enjoy looking at the way things look. I think it's so easy to, like you said, busy ourselves with things like this. But that is especially with social media. So I always say to my clients that once you have your branding done, it should be a system that makes your life easier. So you shouldn't have to say, okay, I want to create a flyer. What fonts am I going to use? What color am I going to use? How am I going to lay it out? Like, they shouldn't be questions that you're wasting your time thinking about, because you should have an already thought out strategy and like a brand guide that you refer back to. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing, because you could spend hours. And it's when my clients spend hours on like creating one social media post, and it's not sustainable. So having a good brand in place that works should be able to save you so much time and hopefully give you an excuse not to procrastinate with like the busy work when you should be like doing more important things.
I totally agree. And I love that. I just love the way you put it. It brings me on to a couple of questions,
Mm,
really nicely, actually. But first of all, I wanted to quickly ask, like, just because it's popped into my brain, do
yeah.
you feel like, because you've said about you shouldn't be having to make those decisions and your
Mm,
branding should be able to serve you kind of thing long
yeah.
term. Do you feel like if you get your branding done professionally and you get it done correctly, it should help you sell your services? Because you talk about having a brand that sells and everything.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like it can help you sell your services as a beauty professional without the need of the stress and feeling salesy and icky around selling your services? Does it help
Mm.
in that way as well?
Yeah, that is such a good question. So I think when you're when you're self-employed or a sole trader and you're not an employee, it is always you're always in sales. Like that is just the truth. Regardless of if you like it or you don't like it or it feels icky, you're always going to be in sales for sure. So that is one thing that's unavoidable. But your brand should help you communicate the value that you have as a business. So it should make it, you shouldn't have to be convincing people of the value that you hold and why they should pay whatever price you want to charge for your services. Your brand should be giving you the foundation to do that and communicating your value. So
Mm,
as consumers, if you think about when you go into a shop or something like that, or when you're booking a service, the first thing that you see is how they're showing up online, because you haven't experienced that product. You haven't, I mean, even think about if you go into Boots or somewhere and you're buying a new conditioner or something, you haven't used that product before, you haven't smelled it. Like you're literally just going on what the brand is. And
mm,
it's the same for when people are booking beauty services as well. They're just going by the first impressions and what they can see. And that is your brand. That is like kind of the face of your business. So getting that right would make it a lot easier to sell your services, but also be able to charge what you want for what you do.
mm,
Um, and I think it also should open up opportunities for you as well. So a lot of my clients, for example, they have been featured in Vogue and Grazia and have had amazing collaborations. So I've had someone that's collaborated with Navy Tools and Gel Bottle Ink and like Beauty Work. So loads of amazing collaborations, but I mean, even Nike as well, but without having a strong brand, these big businesses aren't going to look twice at you. Or, why would somebody want you to be an ambassador for their brand if you're not an ambassador for your own business? And this is where branding comes in and opens up so much opportunity to sell yourself and sell your services so much more easily.
Oh, I love it. This is music to my ears. I am so about like women earning more money in this industry, men as well, but like on a whole, I feel like we're in a day and age now where women have such a strong positioning and we can do so well. And business women are everywhere these days. And I just feel like I have this responsibility now because I am a woman and I am running my own business to kind of help other people, push other people. And hearing you say that is just so good because it's exactly what I teach people when I'm coaching them in their beauty businesses. If you want to charge more, because it's a common thing is people aren't earning enough in this industry.
Yeah.
So if you want to charge more, which you can, this is where these things become more important. And if you think that they're not, then that's fine. And if you want to stay in this sort of the pool where you're not going to be earning enough, then fine. But that's a completely different episode and I don't want to go off on a tangent.
Yeah, we could really go down, open a can of worms there.
Oh, honestly, I could be here all day. There are other episodes about that anyway. But it does move me on nicely to the second question I thought of when we were just talking. And it's about the fact that women should be, having more flexible income. And I know that you're an advocate of that. And obviously I am as well. So what are the ways that you can or do help your clients with creating a kind of semi or passive income? You've touched on it there where you talked about ambassadorship and stuff. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it's something that I get really excited about because I think it's so nice that this industry gives you these opportunities because, it's great to have fully booked client books and be back to back doing your actual service. But once you've mastered that, like what is the next step? And nowadays, there's so much opportunity. So with my clients, creating their strong brand, like I said before, opens up those options for them because they're shown to be taking their business seriously, and therefore other people are also going to take you seriously when you show up with your strong brand. So, for example, I help my clients go into the digital space as well. So that might be selling templates and digital products or ebooks and guides or, doing some mentorship and some coaching. How are you going to venture into this without having your branding on point? So your ebooks need to be consistent with your business and services, and your website needs to have some sort of styling, and it all needs to be consistent. So having that brand foundation first allows you to launch these new products, be in the digital space much more easily, and also build up that brand equity that people recognize. Like, for example, with you, like if you go on your website, it will feel the same as your social media. And then people begin to trust your brand and are more willing to invest in you. The other income stream that a lot of my clients go into is product. So I have a lot of my clients that have been in the industry for a while. So maybe I have a hair extension client who's been doing that for years. I have my nail manicurist client that's been doing that for years. And once you've established that, then you think, okay, how can I branch out? And product is usually a really good option for people to go into. But obviously, it's very intimidating income stream to get involved in because until you've actually looked into it, it's not something that we have a lot of knowledge on, and it can be quite intimidating with the formulations and the regulations, how to get the packaging printed, dealing with wholesalers, all of those things is really intimidating, but it's an amazing additional income stream within the beauty industry because you already have your client base ready and there to buy. So, and you're probably already upselling items to them that are from different brands that you don't own. So why not keep all of that profit within your business and create your own product and sell that to them instead? And then some of my clients even then launch out into different retailers with their product too. So that is a whole other income stream that has amazing opportunities there that I help them brand and do their packaging designs and things like that. So those are some ways a lot of my clients are branching out alongside their services.
I love it. I think it's important, isn't it? I think COVID taught everybody as well that having something online or passive is super important in this world that we live. And it seems that more and more people want something semi-passive or completely passive. And well, I don't think anything is really completely passive, but the things like you said, doing it once and actually then it will pay you again, going forward. I
Mm.
think also, how do you feel around the fact that you're a busy mum and you're
Mhm.
an entrepreneur yourself, and you know, the semi-passive and the passive income helps us work, in my eyes, smarter, instead of working harder because we don't
Yeah.
get any extra time in the day. So how do you make sure that you specifically, not for your clients, but for yourself, how do you juggle everything and make sure you're doing it?
Yeah, so I think it comes with practice. So one would be having strong boundaries to begin with. So regardless of what you're doing, whether your income is passive or semi-passive, because at the end of the day, even if you have a passive or semi-passive income, it still takes a lot of investment initially and ongoing in terms of marketing and selling it. It still takes some sort of investment of time. Or if you're still client facing, it's just really important to have boundaries in general. So making sure that if you know that you can feel yourself burning out, that you know where to draw the line and not to continue working past your breaking point. And I think when you have kids, it kind of forces you to do that because it's not just yourself that you have to worry about. You have to be there for your kids and have the energy and capacity to provide space for them as well. So I think that helps with having those boundaries. And like listening to yourself and making sure that you know what your breaking point is, because that looks different for everyone. And it's so easy when you love what you do and you can see the end goal in sight. It's so easy to kind of like keep pushing yourself and like not have any rest. Um, so I think that's important. I think also having systemizing everything. So this has been a big thing for me, which even though I've had my business for 6 years and I've always heard people talking about systemize things, outsource things. To be honest, for me, it was falling on like deaf ears. I
Mm.
don't know why. It's because I was so engrossed in my work. But this past year, I've literally learned the power of systems. So branding is a system. I always teach that. So like I said to you before, if you're creating a social media post, it should take you 5 minutes when you have a good branding system because you know how it should look, you know what fonts you're using, you know what colors you're using, but also systemizing things like your client's booking process. So they shouldn't have to message you and go back and forth saying, when are you free? What da da da. That is such a waste of everyone's time. So make sure you systemize everything, or whether that's some aftercare information. Instead of manually typing up or messaging people about their individual aftercare, have some sort of templates ready to go. Autoresponders. So systemizing things can free up so much time and help you work smarter. And not harder. So those would be my top tips.
Have you ever had a really big sort of struggle or challenge come up in your life and business?
I mean, loads.
Yeah. What's the
Um,
worst?
what's the worst? Do you know what? Okay, this is a really interesting. This is an interesting story. So this isn't actually with my branding. I haven't had any terrible experiences within branding, touch wood, thank goodness. But I have learned a lot of lessons from my previous experience in business. So I had my hair products brand for a good couple of years. It was really, really popular. And thank goodness I had made sure I did everything the right way. So I made sure I got insurance. I made sure I registered everything. I made sure that all of my formulations were tested and approved. And that's expensive and time consuming to do that. But what had happened was I was just going about my day one day, and then I got an email from Trading Standards saying that somebody had like reported me and said that their scalp oil I was selling had like burnt their scalp, and they had a really bad reaction to it. But bear in mind, my products were completely natural, so it was just almond oil, peppermint oil, and something else. Like it just wouldn't happen. And in email, it said that they suspect that I haven't registered like my product on like their formulations catalog,
Mm.
which immediately like kind of rang alarm bells in my mind because I'm thinking, what sort of customer would know about the formulation regulations? And anyway, so I had to go for a meeting at Trading Standards, and I was really young at this time. I was maybe 22. And so I've never experienced anything like this before. I was really upset and shook about it because I think when you're younger and you're new in business, you're not used to having people coming for you. Whereas when you've been in it for a while, you get a bit of a thicker skin and you know like how to deal with things. But anyway, so I had to go for a meeting at trading standards, and I was so stressed, and I was also really upset because I thought like I don't want to upset anyone. I'm just trying to have my business, and I just thought who have I upset so much that they would like do this to me? But it was a massive learning experience because I realized if I hadn't done everything the right way and invested that time and that money into getting things done the right way, I could have been in so much trouble. And so even now, I always tell my clients to make, like, even now, I don't overstep copyright laws. I don't even take images from Pinterest. I like tell my clients, make sure you
Wow.
trademark everything, make sure you have insurance, because you just don't know when people feel intimidated by you or that they're in a competition with you, you just don't know what they might do.
Mm.
So that was like a really weird experience, but something that I've definitely learned a lot from. And I think every bad experience in business, you just learn so much from. So yeah,
You do. Wow, I can't believe that happened to you.
it was
I
so
always ask everyone at the end of this podcast, like that's brought me on nicely. We can lighten the mood if there's any funnier stories. But normally I say to people like, I love, we get into business, we get really serious, but is there anything that would lighten up somebody's mood today and brighten their day? Just in case they're having a bad day, is there any kind of funny stories or embarrassing times you've gone from in your career that you've learned from? But wow, that's a very big one that you've obviously learned from and grown from.
yeah,
Wow is all I can
yeah.
say. How did you overcome it? Like, talk to me before you can tell me a funny or embarrassing story. That would be
Yeah.
great. But can you just tell me what happened but at the end of this trading standards thing? Like, what did they say?
Yes, they had to do a whole
Did
investigation on it.
they?
So obviously they had to check that I was actually registered in all the places I was supposed to be registered, make sure my formulas were tested. They had to do a whole investigation. I had to go for multiple meetings. And they just basically did a whole investigation on it and went through all my sales of like who could have, because it was anonymous, the tip
Right,
off.
right.
So they had to go through a whole investigation, had to go for meetings. But do you know what? The trading standards people were so amazing and like so understanding. They kind of had probably seen it before and they
Mm,
knew the telltale signs of like a false allegation.
mm.
And they probably just thought I was like a kid. So they were just like
Wow.
felt sorry for me, but they were really friendly and nothing came of it. But it just was really unnerving for me, especially at the time, because I just felt like my intentions are always good. And I just felt like, why would somebody try and do
Mm,
this, especially when you're a business owner, you don't know someone's circumstances. Like I might have had a whole family I was supporting with that business and they tried to bring it down. And I just think you need to be kind and just realize that not everyone is your competition. Like we can collaborate. You don't need to bring people down. And I think it was just for me, just the bad vibes. I was really upsetting, but
mm.
nothing came of it, thank goodness, apart from the massive learning curve.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, so something a bit like light-hearted. I don't know if I'd call it, I don't know if it's funny, but so I had a branding client. This was a good few years ago, kind of when I first started. I have a lot of international clients. This one was in somewhere in I don't know, somewhere in the UAE. So I think Qatar it was.
Mm.
And so they wanted to create this like salon and they wanted to call it douche. So, but they're obviously the language like wasn't quite aligning. And like, so they wanted to call this salon douche.
Mm.
It was so lovely. And I just felt like, and also it was, the client was a man and I hadn't worked with like a lot of men. And I just felt like, I don't know. Anyways, they wanted to call it douche. And we did this whole branding thing based on this name. But because I had just started and I was young, I didn't have the confidence to say, oh, maybe that's not like the best name. And this, because it was a bit awkward. I just felt like I didn't have the confidence at that time to assert myself and give that advice. Now I would 100% have said, listen, I think maybe this is why we should change the name and this is why. But at the time I didn't have the confidence to do that. But it's funny looking back because obviously we did the whole branding thing and then they didn't launch it with that name in the end. So they must have put two and two together. And I feel a bit bad because I should have said something at the time, but it's just always a story that makes me sort of laugh.
Mm. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? And I suppose it's not really your place to be like, well, I don't like your brand name.
Yeah, and because
That
it was
should
like
be in their
obviously they're
control.
not English isn't there, the language is going to be like, they were in Qatar, so douche
Yeah.
default doesn't mean the same thing as it does here. But now I would definitely say something for sure because my clients need my help with things like this. It's my place to highlight potential issues of like that could restrict the brand from growing, because obviously they're not going to be able to come over to the UK and have a chain of salons that are called douche. It's not really going to work. And yeah, but it just always makes me smile.
That is funny. I'm sure that's going to brighten someone's day today. Thank you so much for all of your insight and knowledge. I feel like you've done so much, and yeah, everybody can learn something. So where can everybody find you, connect with you, get in touch if they need anything? Yeah, give me all the ats.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Sugar Branded, and then my website is sugarbranded.com. So I always check my DMs if anyone has any questions about branding or wants to reach out, talk about mum life, anything like that. I'm always up for a chat. So yeah, follow me on Instagram and message me on there if you like. I also have my own podcast as well called the Profitable Brands Podcast, where I usually bring on guests on there that talk about their journey in the beauty industry. So people who've really achieved a lot of great things. They talk about their journey from beginning to where they are now and give their tips and insights onto that. And I also try and give some branding tips on there as well. So if you're looking to learn more about branding, but don't quite have the budget to work with me one-on-one yet, that's a really great place to learn more about how you can start improving your brand strategy for your beauty business.
Amazing. I have had a little look at the podcast and I'm going to keep listening. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me for an episode today. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We are going to go over to do a couple of bonus questions now for the private Facebook community, The Beauty Build. So if you're not in there, get yourself in there and you'll be able to listen to the 2 extra questions that I have asked the lovely Rebecca to answer for us. But for now, I will see you on the next one.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.